So Christopher, I thought I would start with you. And if you were a fashion industry executive, say the CEO of Burberry, or the CEO of another brand out there that's in the past, and I should mention, by the way, that Burberry has announced that it will no longer destroy product. But if you're faced with this challenge of having all this unsold merchandise, using your AI, machine learning, data, research,
Thingy.
multifaceted, crazy smart skill set, what would you do?
So can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was just always check. Every piece of unsold clothing, I think, is actually just a failure of matching supply and demand. It's actually pretty much that simple. It's just you've overproduced, or you haven't distributed appropriately. So it might have been that it had that unit gone to another shop or another country, you might have been able to sell it. And so I think understanding that, because a lot of fashion companies, they look at the supply chain and they look at the mechanics of it from sort of production to distribution, but actually understanding that the supply chain starts and ends with your consumer. And so understanding consumers will help you optimize your supply chain, because you will better understand what it is that they want to buy and not want to buy. So if I were Burberry or any company, investing in AI will allow you to not only better match your units of clothing to your customers and therefore make more money, but you'll be able to make more money with less units of clothing. Less waste. And so it's one of the few examples, I think, in any industry where there is both an argument in profit and profitability to invest in AI, and also an argument in sustainability to invest in AI, where being more sustainable will actually make you more money.
Right.
So if I were Burberry or any company, investing in AI is something that might be wise.
Okay. Arti, you've been working on this at H&M for some time now.
Yes.
Where did you guys start at H&M, and how did it all unfold that this became an initiative which I understand is gaining quite a lot of importance given your new star hire?
Absolutely. I'm happy that you told about it here in this venue. This started maybe just a little bit more than 2 years ago, and it is exactly from that the stuff that Chris is saying, that we saw that we have so much data that we can help us to optimize the whole value chain. And it's not only about, a lot of people think about AI, think about the personalization, the customer-facing part, but there's so much to do to understand also how our supply chain can be better and optimize that. Everything from how you forecasting trends, to how you quantify how many pieces you're going to buy, how you distribute those garments to the right country, to the right store, to the right place, in the right time, and then comes the part with the communication, the customer facing, in personalization, personal promotion, or whatever that might be, and also setting prices. And this is where we spending our investment on to capture every bits and pieces of the value chain. And exactly as Chris said, utilizing data on the customers, and it doesn't have to be on a personal level, it could be on an aggregated level. You understand, and you can top it off on the transactional data that we have. We have over 900 million transactions yearly. We have billions of people visiting our websites. We have millions of people in our club data. That gives a lot of data. As one colleague of mine told me, he said that it's our customers talking to us, right? So if we put that data on top of that, what we have, then we can be more precise and be more we usually talk about stop guessing what you can calculate.
Right.
Because that helps you be more precise or sharper decision making. So making sure that you do not overproduce and making sure you send the right garment to the right place, we can actually both be more sharper in the decision making, making sure that we make right, from a business perspective, but we're also very, more sustainable, how we impact the, environment. It's not only about the garment itself, but also transporting, storaging. It's so much CO2 impact that we can actually remove by being there. And we see that in some of the tests that we can actually affect a lot, and then think of doing that in every market, and think the whole industry doing that, what impact that could entail.
Amazing. So just so we can understand it better, can you give us a specific example of where, you know, along that huge H&M value chain, supply chain, give us a real life example of how you have put this into practice.
Well, we are doing things as I said, we're doing it for 2 years now. We are testing things, we're piloting, we're actually rolling things out globally in different markets, and we're a big company. We're in almost 70 markets, and there's a basic global part, but then you have the local part, and then you get the personalized part. So you need to do things in different stacks and at the same time, because there's also the world is disrupting, right? Everything's going so fast, so you need to make sure you're on top of things. So we're testing in different things in different areas. We're running maybe scaling whole concepts by optimizing how we allocate those concepts. A very good example of that is the store that you visited when you were in Stockholm. It's a store in a shopping mall. This store is a typical shopping mall of maybe size A, B, and C that we used to have before. Because as a human, you make template to make things much more easier to see. And in that typical store or shopping mall, we would have put a kind of specific kind of store, a very standard neighborhood store. And it was doing good, but not as good as it could have done. Adding the data, looking at the actual customers are buying them, what are they buying, what are the concepts, then you start defining the old way of thinking that store should have this because it's of that size. No, that store need to have these concepts. We need to allocate those garments in that specific store and not move them anywhere else.
So it's not just about the size of the store, it's the neighborhood the store is in, the people that tend to frequent that store,
exactly.
their purchasing habits.
It's understand.
And
that
even
is
how they
customer
move
centered.
through the store. I mean,
Yes.
the cool thing about this store is that when I went in, it actually looks quite different than a lot of H&M stores because there's half of the product there. It's actually looking at like, can you sell more stuff with less?
Right.
Yes.
And
Which is counterintuitive in a way, because sometimes you walk into an H&M store and it's just like avalanche of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's quite interesting. You walk in and there's all kinds of little devices that give feedback, both to you as the customer, but also then to the shop. Looking at where people go, where should the clothing be? Like even asking people in the changing rooms, are you currently satisfied right now, and why? Like the thing that's quite cool about that is that it extends. There's fundamental aspects of these technologies that you can apply not just in H&M, but you can apply. There's nine brands now within the within the H&M group, and so you can apply. It doesn't matter if you are COS or if you are Arti or whatever. These are things that you can apply across the group to make the experience better for people.
Yeah.
And those can connect.
Yeah,
Like
it makes me think, though, our dear Albert was talking to us about the importance of intuition, instinct, the right brain side of our industry. So how do you guys see the kind of power of the left brain data, analytics, like all of that, like predictive stuff, with the like creativity and intuition and the kind of just knowing that the right thing is, being ahead?
Actually, internalization, we never talk about artificial intelligence. We refer to AI as amplified intelligence. Because what we're doing, we're providing tools and data to make sharper decision making. The decision making still is on the human. We know the business. We've done fashion for plus 70 years. But the world is changing, it's more complex, so we need to provide data. I mean, we've seen the project where we're helping designers with trend forecasting. It's not because the fact that the designer could not forecast a trend, it's because the designer now had a tool to be able to talk to the controller saying, listen, my gut feeling says this product is going down, and now the data says the same thing. So now I can make sure that I'm amplifying my competence and making sure I can talk to the business guy and say, you should not buy that product because I can see this, that my gut feeling is empowered by the data. Before you always look at BI as tools, descriptive, what has happened. This is predictive, helping you to decide better forward. If that is statistic, this is probability.
Okay.
So by helping probability, you can be a little bit more sharper.
So what if this? Okay, go ahead, Chris.
And so one of the things. So I love fashion because it's so creative and interesting and fun and one of the things that I say, because I interact with a lot of designers and often they kind of go, ooh, like ooh, data, I'm not a math person, or, or every time I talk to somebody who's done research, they always tell me I can't do something, like, oh, that won't sell, or that won't. And one of the things that I say is actually good use of data will help amplify your creativity, because if you have an idea, if you like this, there's surely other people like you that will like this thing. And previously, a lot of things would be turned down because, there wouldn't necessarily be enough understanding or a route to market to take this kind of weird and wonderful thing and find where that market is. Because it might be that that market is actually distributed in a narrow segment that's, pan-geographic. But now we can say, okay, there's this cool niche thing. Actually, we'll be able to potentially find a market for it. There's this niche place right here that might buy that thing. Or there might be a little bit of customers all over the place. So we might not put it in a shop, we might have it online, but there might be a market for that. And so the cool thing about better understanding of the market is that actually, I really genuinely think that AI is one of the solutions to dehomogenizing the market and actually enhancing the diversity of the market in terms of design and enhancing people's creativity.
Because you could have more variety.
You can have more variety and sell that variety, because you'll be able to understand where should that variety go,
right,
and how to reach out to the people who might like that variety.
Okay.
If you look at our company, sorry, this is so interesting. I'm so passionate about this. We have...
That's why you're here.
Yeah. In our projects that we're running, across every part of the organization, the one that are leading the project are the business side. Is the designers, is the buyers, is the sales guy, is the merchandiser. They're driving the project. I'm enabling them with the data analytics and my beautiful brains that I have in my teams. They're creating all these cool algos. But they're the one running the business, running the projects. So there's a huge pull from the organization because they feel that we're amplifying them and not taking over. So it is, data, it's art and science. It's human and machine. It's gut feeling and data together.
You know what I love about this? I love that this is like a positive technology story from today. We've had...
Tech is cool. Data
yeah.
is cool. Like, there's
so
like amazing things that you can do with data. It doesn't have to be evil.
Right. So, both of you, 30 seconds each. Fast forward 5 years. What do you think... you've been here today, you've heard about the challenges with climate change and greenhouse gases and overproduction and like waste and plastic and all the problems we have in the world with regards to our environment. What do you think is the real potential impact of this technology? Chris?
So all of the critiques of fashion, you look at, it's not just sustainability, as we heard earlier, like labor rights violations and monitoring of factories. Creating a smart supply chain from beginning to end will enable the fashion sector to reduce the amount that they produce and reduce the waste that they produce, maintain profitability, but also de-stress and give breathing space to that supply chain. And that allows you not only to reduce your carbon emissions, but also in monitoring factories and being able to create less demand on those factories. You could also improve labor standards.
Sure.
And maintain profitability. Yeah. This is the amazing thing. You can have your cake and you can eat it.
Right. And like Albert said, Albert was talking about the 8 collections, 16 collections. It feels like sometimes the way that we've been trying to solve the problems in the industry is just by producing more stuff and hoping someone's going to buy it, And
I think producing less will get you more.
Exactly.
And for us, sustainability is a core thing. It's part of our goals, a part of our mindset, everything we do, even in the part of it where we talk about the AI. I work very closely with our head of sustainability, Anna Yedda, and very much in everything, bits and pieces we talk about, everything we do has a sustainability perspective to it. There's also part of sustainability, it's not only about the environment, but it's also about the human and ethics. So we're actually also taking the leadership to put ethics in AI in the forefront. We haven't solved that problem yet, but
right.
It's an area we need to make sure that we understand, because there's a lot of bias in the data. There's a lot of things you can do in the wrong way with the data, and we realize that. I think we are one of the few companies that have a head of AI policy. That she is Linda Leopold. She's working with this on a daily basis to make sure that can we do right things? Are we utilizing data in the right way? Are we truthful to our customer? Are we transparent to our customer? That's important. GDPR is just like hygiene factor. We need to notch it up much higher. And then you actually have a different spin on it when it comes to the fashion industry.
Okay, well, I really look forward to seeing how this all evolves. Congratulations on your new role.
Cheers.
And Arti, thank you for coming down from Sweden for this. Please help me in thanking Christopher and Arti.
Thank you.